We're tired of playing games. We've done some quizzes, we've done some silly games, but it's all over today because we are looking at your Digimon hot takes. I took to Twitter and YouTube at Proto's direction to ask for your Digimon hot takes, and let's see how it went. So, Twitter, Digimon Twitter, best people to ask an opinion from, and my YouTube community posts who are actually, well, you're interesting. We're going to start with Twitter, where I asked, what's your Digimon hot take? I guess you could kind of lead. I'll just scroll and we'll see what happens. The first one we got is from some idiot called Proto J Dubs.
Some buffoon, man. This is my biggest hot take ever. Gabumon is the worst. And some people were like, he's not a gogglehead partner. Because Kira doesn't have goggles. Shut the f up.
So I like Gabumon. I think he's good, but I don't know if he's cute is the thing.
I don't even mean he's bad. I like Gabumon. Just compared to the rest, he's not that great.
What the fuck does he know about cameras?
Exactly.
What's your second worst?
My second worst would be, I was gonna say Guilmon, but I like Guilmon.
Speaking of Guilmon, Digimon Tamers is just okay. In fact, most of the anime is okay.
I agree. I am a big fan, but if I wasn't a Digimon fan, it is kind of hard to get into the anime unless you're really into Digimon.
I kind of agree and kind of disagree. I think the anime is like one of the most accessible things about Digimon. Like, what the f is VPET for most people, you know?
That is true. That is true.
I think Digimon Adventure is, for its time, like, obviously it's not, you know, Ghost in the Shell or Cowboy Bebop. For a kid's anime, I think it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Digimon 02, obviously I love. Tamers, I think, is really good, but it's not as good as it is hyped up to be, perhaps.
Absolutely. I used to be a Tamers hater. Now I'm just a Tamers whatever.
Yeah, Digimon Tamers is just okay. It's spicy, but I kind of agree. The dubs of the first three movies are more entertaining to watch compared to the originals.
Yes!
Oh!
Based. Two thumbs up, a round of applause, everything.
This is one of the most recursive takes you'll see is dub versus sub, right? I like both. I will say I very recently rewatched Our War Game with a friend, and there are some moments that just to me fell flat with the kind of like not the butterfly and stuff like that, like the actual Digimon music, but there's some just like instrumental stuff where I'm like, this could be punchier.
Like, the orchestral music sounds great when Omnimon first appears. It's gorgeous, but I mean, it's no Let's Kick It Up, man. I don't.
Right.
When I see viruses getting blown to smithereens, I don't want to listen to.
Yeah, there's some. I think that the truth for me, and I think this is going to offend people who are like very sub purists.
They're gonna hate this video.
Yeah, here we go. Stuff like this one from Matthias. As someone who grew up with the faithful dub of the first 4 seasons, I'm 100% sure the English dub of the anime has done irreparable damage to the franchise in the West.
That's crazy.
Like, no.
People say this about Yu-Gi-Oh! Too, and I'm like, y'all are wrong. It made it more accessible. How dare they?
But so the comment Matthias replies with is, but the changes help the popularity of the anime isn't a valid excuse when in Latin America and Digimon is as popular as it is in the US. But they're different countries.
Yeah.
Different countries have different sensibilities, and you know that's like saying just because dubs like Pokemon doesn't have name changes in Japan means that it's dubbing is not inherently a problem. And I do think that the culture in America at the time, for good or bad, was not a culture that would just have accepted like a subbed anime.
Absolutely.
No one would have watched it. I mean, if it was dubbed but faithfully, people might have called it boring because Pokemon was so popular partly because of the anime, and the anime was doing little jokes and things like that. Like, that was one of the things that made Pokemon popular with kids, is that it was like anime and it was stuff that kids hadn't really seen before, but also, you know, jelly donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and here's my thought process is when people are like, I don't like it when the sub or the dub is so completely different from the dub. It's like you get 2 different versions of the show you like to watch. Why are you complaining?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like tribalism with it. Like, the sub is the and you know, the sub is definitely the more accurate, like, it's literally the thing that the team put out. It is the like most true, but that doesn't invalidate a dub any more than, I think a great example of this, and if you look outside of the Digimon community, this like doesn't happen. No one is like, why are you calling Kasumi Misty and stuff like that. If we look at Ace Attorney, one of my favorite games in the entire world, its localization is very different to the Japanese version in a lot of ways.
Really?
because they localize the names of stuff, like, because they're meant to be puns, so it's like Naruhodo
Johnny Stabums.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you could absolutely absolutely one-for-one transliterate Ace Attorney, and it would be an actively worse experience for your average English speaker.
That's true. That is true.
And I think that's kind of the same for a lot of anime geared at kids. I think now, if they're aiming stuff at adults, then yes, it's a good thing that like the faithful dub thing is coming out. It's a good thing that like 2020's dub was much more like a kind of like Demon Slayer style dub as opposed to a Saban dub. But yes. I think it overlooks to say that because you could do one thing in Latin America, why couldn't you do it in America? Countries are just so different.
Exactly, yeah.
Blaming it all on the dub and not the environment at the time and the companies that had archaic rules about like showing Japanese food kind of ignores a lot of the struggle and history of even getting stuff out of Japan.
Who knows what would have happened if we didn't have the Saban dub of Digimon?
You know, you wouldn't have me, and I'm sure at least 10% of the people watching would have been happier for it.
I'm gonna go back and kill Haim Saban and make sure you never get famous.
Yeah! Gatomon should have been Digivolved in 02, the tail ring. It's just that. Well, I think you're bad take. No.
I half agree.
I agree too.
Like, it doesn't bother me, but I would have been.
Yeah, I don't particularly care, but like they were kind of cowards for not using Salamon in so many situations. Like they got a little bit too scared, I think, that Gatomon was the most recognizable and didn't give Salamon time. Like again, comparing it to other Saban stuff, admittedly Saban had nothing to do with the creative side of Digimon in this respect, but like, you know, okay, we ran out of Green Ranger footage, White Ranger time.
Exactly.
Maybe it's kind of an admission that Salamon's a shitty design. Hating any Digimon season in general is way too overrated and annoying at this point. I wouldn't really say any of them are like bad. In this house, we appreciate the good things in all of them. Yes, all of them have at least something good to bring to them. I absolutely agree.
100%. Even like I don't like Ghost Game or 2020, but you know, if you liked them, I don't give a shit.
And, you know, 2020's got a great soundtrack.
Ghost Game also has a bomb theme song.
It's got, yeah, I mean, I like Faction is not one of those songs that I listen to. It's a very good theme song for the, like, kind of spooky Gegege no Kitaro vibe that Ghost Game's got going on. But, like, I would listen to Extreme Fight and Unidentified Airship and stuff just, like, unprompted. Frontier would be so much better if the kids could actually speak to their spirits and have them take on mentor roles for the kids to understand their abilities better.
I'm like halfway. Like I do think that would be a great show, but I do like what we got. But I'm Johnny B. Frontier, so
I think it's an interesting idea because like the idea of them being spirits a lot of the time ends up just feeling more like Armor Digivolution. So Frontier for me is the most interesting season to explore creatively because we didn't see a lot of stuff that theoretically could have happened, but also it's like weirdly rigid. It would have been interesting if the like flame spirit didn't just look like a little Lagoonimon.
yeah, I think that would have been a neat little thing. It would take away the like moment in the last episode where they think like everything's all gone to hell, and then their spirits do talk to them for the first time. They're like, hey, you guys are actually really good at this. And they're like, oh, stop. I'm like, no, you guys are great.
Maybe that's true, is that it's actually more of a punchy moment to have them kind of come through in the 11th hour. It might be something interesting to see, like, in future Frontier content, if they ever make it.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
I still think TK and Matt should have had a fusion and try to highlight how strong their familiar bond is. Yeah, like, I'm never going to say no to more forms that aren't Omnimon.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't care that much. Marcus Damon is the coolest Digidestin by far, and Data Squad is actually a really good season. Marcus is the only Digidestin who doesn't exclusively cower behind his Digimon for the entire series besides the Frontier kids, but they still have Digimon powers that make them capable of fighting. Marcus just gets in there as a human being and cracks some skulls.
I agree, but for different reasons. I love Marcus. He is one of the best goggleheads. And Saver/Data Squad is, I would say, arguably the best season, just like overall. If I had to pick which one would be something that everyone could enjoy, I would pick that one. But it's not just because he punches Digimon. I think he is a very great written character. He's like a shonen protagonist thrown into Digimon, which is really cool. But the punching does help. So yeah, I agree. Just there's more to him. I don't want to be the actually who this is like, well, Marcus is actually the best character ever written.
It's more than just punches. My opinion of Data Squad, I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it much later, and I didn't fall in love with it. And let me clarify, Saver's Data Squad is not in my top 3 Digimon seasons personally. It's the best season of Digimon.
Yes, it just is, man.
I think Data Squad's crime, and why you don't see as much love for it, is that it's not controversial enough.
That's true, because it's just good.
It's just fine. Like, it doesn't have something as, like, crazy cool as Armor or Jogress or Card Slash, but it also doesn't have its big detractors like Adventure Zero 2's perceived missteps, Adventures like slightly odd plotting, 2020 not having as good of a sort of familial connection and like a lot of the real world stuff that people liked. Like Data Squad has a bit of everything. Like it's got like more mature protagonists which people always want. It's got like actual dark themes and like a resolution which I think Ghost Game suffered from a lack of. Is like, even though it was all spooky, there wasn't a ton of stuff in the end game that like really felt like I was watching a story or I was watching something more kind of mature. And I don't mean mature in like a dark and edgy way.
Yeah, a real world bit and a digital world bit. I like when seasons have both.
Yeah, there is a ton to like about Data Squad. Marcus is great. Thomas is the sort of the blue Matt character, but without being so annoying the entire run.
Yes, and they kind of like get along in like the first 10 episodes, and then they're just like, they're friends from that point on, which I like.
And no other season has Chespians, so...
No other season. Sabers has the best baddies, bro. Next video, top 10 Digimon baddies. Number 1. Gatomon. Anyway, next one.
No! Ooh, I don't like the Appmon series, but Appmon should be fully integrated as a subtype of Digimon. Digimon and Appmon should be able to evolve into each other at any time. Honestly, the ones who'll find this a truly hot take is probably Bandai themselves, though. I agree.
I agree 100%. There's so many cool Appmon. I want them to just be, like, just shove them in there. I don't care.
There's literally no... Like, people talk about the art style, but if you actually watch Appmon, most Appmon aren't, like, the chibi. Like, they are, like, Digimon-sized. And also people say, like, oh, because of Appgatai, it couldn't work. People think Appgatai is super complicated, but most Appgatai is just the Appmon's natural next form, and they just stole some energy from something else. Like, you very rarely... It's a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you actually get an Appgatai that feels like, you know, Newsmon plus Musimon equals, you know, like Moviemon or whatever. War Dragon King Davis is a much better character than anyone gives him credit for. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to talk about that. He's just right.
Yep, cool, thanks for that, appreciate it. Adventure peaks at the Odaiba arc and gets boring when they return to the digital world, only reaching that high again for the final episode, yep.
Ooh, I agree, except for the Piedmon arc, but that's more nostalgia than anything. But yeah, the digital world arc does kind of drag for a bit.
The Odaiba arc, to me, is Digimon Adventure. Like, it's crazy how much of, like, my memories of Digimon Adventure as a kid were the Odaiba arc, or, like, leading into the Odaiba arc, and even, like, it felt as a kid that the first journey in the digital world was very small, and maybe that's just because I missed episodes, I don't know. But in retrospect, it's like, damn, I could have gone for a little bit more of that, which I guess is what they kind of did with Tamers. It's almost the inverse, right?
Yeah, that is, they start in the real world, go to the digital world for half the series.
I think there are good parts of, like, all the Dark Masters stuff, but...
Yeah, but the Odaiba is 100% the peak.
Oh, Soru, channel artist, Digimon World 4 is a good game, and I enjoyed my time with it.
Soru, I love you. I cannot agree with you, but I will say that is a based take to have.
It is an enjoyable game in some, like, when you lose, I don't necessarily feel like, I think, okay, here's my very hot take. I think Digimon World 4 is so bad that it's hard to care whether you're winning or not.
Exactly, yes. It's one of those games where I don't think it's a good game, but when I play, if I play it by myself, I'm having a bad time. But when we played it with High C, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's a great game with friends. I'm not amazing at hard games, but I'm reasonably good at video games, and I've always struggled with Digimon World 4. I don't think it's paced in a way on a difficulty level that is enjoyable. If the next partner Digimon have megas that look like regular humans in costumes, I'm gonna lose it.
100%, 100%. I was so sad. I like Seriousmon, he's a cool looking design, but when we went from cool dragon to just dude, I was like, come on, man.
So I have like a split thought. I've never cared that much, but I do have part of my brain that will always see Digivolution as the bond between human and tamer, right? And so to me, in some ways, like the Mega being more humanoid does sort of make sense in a partner situation, because the humans becoming more like their Digimon, the Digimon's becoming more like their human.
Yes.
What I think the problem is with a lot of megas we've had are that they're the same way of doing it. Like, Siriusmon just feels like another Wargreymon. Like, the Shoutmon finals feel like another way of doing the same sort of thing. I think that's why Imperial Ultramon Fighter mode is so much better, because it can go to Dragon mode, and Fighter mode is more armored. Oh, next to that, Brian, people freak out and nag too much on Digimon that are too humanoid. Digimon has long since moved away from the idea that Digimon are just monsters and heavily embraced the intent that Digimon are based on any and all ideas that conceivably exist, objects, people, concepts. I agree
100%, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Jellymon and Kyoshiro becoming a couple, or any Digimon-human couple in general. The Digimon are basically aliens for the humans. Remember all those interspecies couples we had in Ben 10? What the I'm so glad I never watched Ben 10. Y'all are freaks.
Personally, I don't think human Digimon relations are good in any form. And if anyone is obsessed with a certain Digimon, I think you're a weirdo and a creep.
So, I
was holding up the Gatomon the whole time I was doing it.
Yeah, I figured. So I think this is simplifying something, which it doesn't matter because it's all fake. This is simplifying something into broad strokes that is very nuanced, right? So, like, if a human adult Digidestined has a crush and wants to fuck Rosemon, I get
Go for it, man. Me too, brother.
Or if he's got a crush on, like, a Gankumon, right? Mm-hmm. Fair. Some main takeaways. First of all, shipping children in general.
Yes.
I don't like it. I just couldn't be spending brain space on it.
All the aliens in Ben 10 are hot.
Ophanimon is overrated and Magnadramon is better.
Facts. I like Ophanimon. Magnadramon is just cooler and looks more like a cat.
When I was a kid and dumb, I was always very, like, anti-Magnadramon. I was like, why does Seraphimon get to keep being Seraphimon and why is she just Falcor from Neverending Story? Like, as I grew up, I was like, that's kind of dope, though, that, like, it kind of reverts back to its Gatomon elements a little bit and also goes very unexpected. I think it's cool.
It's very, very Digimon. That's why I like it.
If Pokemon can have Mystery Dungeon and have a dedicated fan base for it, so can Digimon. For a series that has digital monsters that are smarter than supercomputers and have worlds that evolve alongside humans, there is laughably little to no just Digimon stories unless it's fan-made.
Agreed.
I don't know. I think that's a weird apples and oranges. Mystery Dungeon is a game, so if we're talking about games, then we have a lot of games where you just play as the Digimon. World 4, Racing, Rumble Arena, Battle Spirit. There are a lot of those games. The stories, sure, lacking.
I think that what they probably mean is an RPG.
Maybe, or maybe they're just talking, or they say just no Digimon stories. So, like, do they mean the anime? And then we've had, like, XE. But I think Digimon, weirdly, has it actually historically better in some respects than Pokemon. But yeah, I think Digimon-only stories are interesting. The isekai genre exists is because audiences generally connect better when there is someone that they can self-insert themselves with.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that the human element of Digimon is what puts it over Pokemon. Not that I want to get in on that argument, but
no.
I do.
And like Mystery Dungeon is popular, but like it's not popular enough to become Pokemon's main thing.
Absolutely,
you know?
Yeah.
I think none of the sub-level names make any sense for what Digimon is about, and the dub name does a better job. Digimon such as Renamon, Lugamon, and even Angoramon don't act like kids or even have the maturity of kids, so it doesn't make sense to call them child level.
This. I don't mind the sub-level names, I just will never use them.
I think both are kind of a little bit stupid, because there is this thing in Digimon that it is supposed to be maturity levels, but I think generally since very early doors, it has gone in most media, especially obviously the anime, from being a maturity level thing to very much being a power level thing. What I think they should do, to reflect the fact that Digimon has moved, I think generally, if you look at the whole franchise, away from the kind of maturity level thing, is maybe do a universal restructure where it's like baby, like in training works great, I think.
Yes.
Rookie or child, whatever you want to do there, and then something going forward. Like, I honestly, even if the standard became no names and we went card game with it, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4,
honestly, that's all I do anyway nowadays. I call them just level 3s.
It's easier in my head, because the card game, there are some Digimon who I always see as the wrong level, and the card game has really helped with that. Like Saber Leomon for me is always going to be an ultimate level, not a mega level for some reason. I don't know why. My brain's just broken. People get too worked up about Evo lines sometimes, especially what is canon. Example, Holy Dramon versus Ophanimon. Yes and no. Evo branches should be encouraged more, but I think if by worked up you mean wish more stuff showed up, then no.
I do think people get a little crazy, it's, especially when it's just someone's fan line. Like,
right.
Back in the Digimon subreddit, which I haven't been on in years, people would post their fan lines all the time. And there'd always be that one comment that's like, well, no, you know, Andromon can actually digivolve into Justimon. It's like, shut up.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah, and people who, like, will say, like, oh, this isn't happening. It's like, the only reason that can't happen is because it hasn't been written yet.
Exactly. And now, thanks to the card game, anything can happen, pretty much. I almost agreed with Charlie.
Charlie, you were getting there. Shatmon great, Ken great.
You almost...
The only reason people like Frontier is the theme song.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This theme song is probably the best part of the show, sub and dub. But I mean...
And as someone who really enjoyed Kizuna, conclusion?
We've got a whole nother movie, bro.
It didn't end Digimon should have a traditional fighting game or a Rumble title. The problem is Bandai, they don't care about netcode. I mean, yeah, but, like, I don't care. Like, I really want Dick N, but, like, who cares?
Yeah, I would like it, but I'm not gonna, like... If they never make one, I'm not gonna be on my deathbed being like, I would have been happy if we had Digimon Fighter Z.
Alan says there hasn't been a great Digimon game. Great point, Alan. I would say there is no great Digimon game. Digimon World 1 has a lot of nostalgia for people, even me. It's not great. It's a reasonably okay simulator of the V-Pets with a lot of charm, but, like, is almost unplayable unless you have played it a bunch of times / have a guide.
I really hate the ad for Digimon World 1 that says not recommended for people who suck at video games. Because number one, I feel attacked.
I'm good at video games.
Number two, what a terrible way to advertise your video games.
That was the 90s, man. It was like, don't catch your mum playing with Game Boy, she'll think you're wanking. You think you've got balls, look at these Lara Croft tits. Toy Agumon is an entire Digivolution line based on Agumon.
Absolutely.
A Ghost Game would have been the best season if it had more than just 3 episodes of plot out of 67. I love the cast and spooky concept so much, but the execution was terrible. Yes, and I saw someone, I want to kind of fold in a few comments with this one. I saw someone say that people hated Ghost Game for being something they made up, not something it ever promised to be. Fundamentally disagree with that.
Absolutely, 100%.
We recorded this before my post-mortem of Digimon Ghost Game. I basically just reiterate a bunch of points that are in that video, so go watch that video if you want more of a response to this tweet. Thanks. Jamon, Marcus is the best leader, not because he takes charge of the leader, because he inspires everyone around him to never give up.
What did I say earlier? See? God, you're so based.
Digimon is the most based. The X antibody lore is one of the most interesting parts of the Digimon story, and the fact we haven't gotten a game or a good movie about it is criminal.
Agreed. There's a lot of random X antibody lore that's just like in like a comic book or whatever that was included with the Digivice, and that's crazy to me.
Disagree. It's lame. I think X antibody is an interesting thing to see, but it's really just like, what if it was edgy? Every time. Digimon Survive was a great game. Yeah, Digimon Survive is what people who like Ghost Game think the Ghost Game situation is.
Oh my god, that is such a perfect analogy. Oh my god.
Because Digimon Survive is literally a game where people didn't pay attention to what it always stated it was supposed to be and got mad at it. Digimon Seekers is not that bad, and if it was any other media, it'd be one of the best Digimon products. So yeah, agree and disagree. I think Seekers is a fantastic idea for a season, a more adult tone. They picked the absolute worst method to distribute it, and then also made a terrible English machine translation.
Absolutely, yeah, the machine translation makes it borderline unreadable.
This is what I think Bandai does, and this is kind of the hot take where I might end the video on. Bandai Namco has a commitment and complete lack of commitment to Digimon. Allowing Digimon as a franchise to explore ideas like Seekers, with, you know, the Vital Bracelet stuff being thrown in with the nature of the digital world and this adult theme and all these cool characters, and then making it a web novel? What? Not that reading a book on a website is inherently bad or like a bad medium, but like there's a reason why anime always gets animated and that's when it gets popular.
It's like, I like everything that it's about because it's like Cyber Sleuth-esque, you know? Like I said earlier, the machine translation makes it almost unreadable because it's like almost like you know what they're saying, but it's like almost there.
Yeah, this like complete disconnect between the Japanese side of Bandai Namco and the rest of the world. Yeah, I think Seekers to me is not bad. It is so disappointing because on a machine translation level, it could have been actually translated and really put effort into it.
Like what you were saying, what drives me up the wall in a hot take, Digimon is just like a side project to them. They don't realize how much people love Digimon because it's never going to make as much money as Dragon Ball or One Piece does.
If they put the promotional budget into Digimon and produced regular quality content rather than random stuff all over the place, I kind of have a video I want to do about this, which is just Armchair CEO, what I would do with Digimon. And of course, Nintendo hired this guy is like the lamest thing ever. Digimon has such potential, and I feel like things like how Seekers is distributed, Seekers existing as a book, not as a manga or anime.
And that's another thing. We put the extra effort into it, make it into a manga, and people gobble the shit out of that.
We might do a part 2 of this over on EXtra because we have so many more comments. But the thing I want to end, kind of to pivot off that point, is can you imagine if Dragon Ball, Elden Ring, non-Bandai Namco properties, Pokemon, Yokai Watch, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter had the official Twitter account of their games not know the name of their game? Can you imagine if Pokemon tweeted, "Hey everyone, get yourself a copy of Pokemon Starlit and Vibehor, #Digimon World New Order."
New Order. Yeah, man. They're thinking of the fan game. That's Digimon New World, stupid.
Idiots.
Idiot.
Well, this was fun. We have way more comments and replies. Didn't even get to the quote tweet, so maybe we'll do a slightly less edited one over on EXtra. You should go subscribe to Karn EXtra. Yeah, we'll really get into the Jellymon stuff that got heavily edited out of this video. Go follow Tom on Twitter. Oh, Jesus Christ.
On X.
Go follow Tom on TikTok at Prod.
Yeah, please.
I don't know when this is going out, but wish me a happy birthday, maybe?
Yeah, happy Karn.
I turned 30 this year, and I'm talking about Digimon opinions on the internet. Whoa!